Hi, and welcome back, personal finance students. We are still in the credit unit and we are creating a second amortization schedule. And we can also then possibly move on and do a debt snowball idea. So we started with finding a $50,000 vehicle. We negotiated the price down a little bit. We had a trade in and a down payment. We were financing $38,000. We then had tax, title, license, and dealership fees, which all added up to us borrowing just short of $41,000. Annual cost of borrowing was 5%. And then we used our payment function to calculate, well, what would those 36 equal monthly payments be if we borrowed this $41,000 at a 5% annual interest? Because we're making monthly payments, right? Our interest rate was divided by 12. Because in this example, we were making 36 equal payments. That's why the second number was 36. And the present value, or the amount of money we were borrowing, was the $40,895. That spit out an answer saying we need to make 36 equal payments of $1,225.66. We then looked at, well, what if we had a 4-year car loan or a 48-month payment schedule? Then a 5-year, then a 6-year, then a 7-year. Again, car dealers, for the most part, in general, will let you borrow 3, 4, or 5 years on a used car. They would let you go all the way up to 7 years on a new car. And at 50,000 bucks, that's probably a pretty newer vehicle. So we look at the math and we did our schedule. We did our 3-year repayment schedule, all 36 payments of $1,225.66. At the end of those 3 years, it shows that we've paid the car off and the car is now ours. Prior to this, the car is owned by the finance company. We're just the one driving it. Once we've paid off and we get rid of the lien or the loan, now it's our vehicle. Same thing with a house when we eventually get to that math. If we added up all of our payments, we spent a total of $44,000 to buy this car. We made a total of $3,228 worth of interest payments. Now, that all sounds good if we can afford the $1,200 a month to buy the car. What if we can't? What if we look at our budget and we say, I can't afford a $1,200 car payment? And maybe I got to stretch it out to, say, 6 years, right? Now, again, $700 is a lot of money to pay for a car, but let's just go with that example and say, I can afford the $650, $660 a month. Let's go ahead and do a 6-year car loan. I'm going to go ahead and leave my first amortization schedule as is, and I'm going to slide over here and type up a new one. So this is going to be a 6-year amortization schedule. Really, that is going to be 72 monthly payments. Now, the rest of the schedule is going to look similar, and I'm just going to be, call me lazy, I'm going to say efficient. My top set information is going to be the same. Right? I'm going to have payment number, beginning loan amount, interest, my payment, and my ending loan amount. This time I'm going to stretch it out a little longer, and I'm going to need to show all 72 payments. Again, I highlighted 1 and then 2. Excel got the pattern, and it fill hand and said, oh, yeah, you mean 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then 6 all the way down. My beginning loan amount is still the same. I'm going to go over here and say, yep, I borrowed this number. That way, if I start playing with it and make more of a down payment or negotiate more, or they give me a better trade-in, my number is going to be based off of a set value here as opposed to just typing in a number, right? Because you may have a situation where, well, something changed. My interest only calc is going to be the same. Again, I'm going to take my 5% annual interest rate and divide it by 12 because I'm going to make monthly payments. I always run it to refer back to this cell. So I'm going to use absolute cell reference. That's the $ before the letter and between the letter and the number. Go ahead and multiply that by the amount of money I borrowed. And you'll notice that the interest is going to be the same number regardless of which schedule we have, because it's the first one, right? The first payment. My payment's going to be different this time, right? I'm going to go make 72 equal payments of this $600 number. And again, I'm going to use absolute cell reference to say refer back to that exact same cell. I'm going to color this one up different just to show. We'll go with the light blue there, meaning we're pulling this number here. So I'm making a $650 some payment. They charge me the same $170 in interest. Because I'm paying less, my ending loan balance is going to be a little bit bigger. Well, that makes sense because I paid less. So take my beginning loan amount, add my interest, subtract my payment. As opposed to paying off $1,000 of principal in the 36-month loan, I only paid off about $400, $500 of principal. Right? And that makes sense because it's going to take me longer to pay this bill off. By the time I'm done, I'm still going to end up with zero down here at the very, very bottom. The process is still the same. Whatever I ended the month one is what I begin month two with. I'm going to fill handle my interest down, and it's going to get a little bit smaller. I'm going to fill handle my payments all the way down to all 72 months. Right, 72 equal payments of this number. The key to this is as I look at it, I want to get the first two rows going and give it the old sniff test. Does this smell right? Does it make sense that my interest only got a little smaller? Does it make sense that my payment was the exact same number? Does it make sense that my ending loan amount got a little bit smaller? Once it kind of looks right, I'm going to go ahead again, highlight just the second row, and I'm going to fill handle it all the way down. When I get down to the bottom, if I did it right, my last payment, I had still $655 left to pay. They charged me $2.73 in interest. That comes out exactly to the $658 payment and 61 cents. I don't owe any more money. It's now my vehicle. The comparison I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I stretched this loan out. It's twice as long. It's not 3 years, it's 6 years. So how much money did I borrow? Well, you borrowed the same $41,000, Mr. Clem. Yes, I did. But because it took me 3 more years to pay back, I had to pay more money in total. Add up all 72 payments of $658, and it cost me $47,000 to borrow this amount of money for 6 years, as opposed to $44,000 when I paid it back over 3 years. Go ahead and use my fill handle. Let's go add up our total amount of interest payments. Again, it cost me $6,500 in interest, right? Adding up every interest payment I have here. Why? Well, because I stretched the loan out longer. So I paid $6,500 in interest as opposed to paying $3,200 in interest, right? I paid another $3,000 in interest because I stretched the loan out twice as long. So as we look to end this video, this is taking a look at my loan, stretching it out rather than a 3-year repayment schedule, stretching it out to be a 6-year repayment schedule. And again, here's a listing of every single payment I would make, and I can go anywhere here and say, all right, After 4 years, I get a big bonus at the end of the year. I can now pay my car off early. How much do I need to pay? Well, my last number here is $15,012.38 at the end of 4 years. As we get to our next video, we're going to take a look at our debt snowball and how that could help us pay this bill off at a quicker pace. Just because our payment is $658.61, that doesn't mean that's all we have to pay. We could pay more if we wanted to. So our next video, we'll take a look at that idea.